When a client mentions an important issue, especially a people issue, they express frustrations, they express concerns. Here's the key point. You have to look at that client and ask them, in your heart, do you believe this person can be saved? And they'll typically give you happy talk to begin with, of, well, yes, blah, blah, blah. Say, come on, just cut through it. In your heart, is this going to work? Well, a large number of times, you know what they're going to say? No. I don't really believe this person can be fixed or helped. Then you know what? Really encourage them to cut losses. One thing I tell my clients is, in your heart, if you don't think it's going to work, it's probably not going to work. Why go through some painful process of beating yourself and the other person over the head? Cut losses, make a settlement, move on with life. Now let's say the opposite is true. They say, yes, I really think this can work. I just have some frustrations with this person about certain behavior. Then the next question is, all right, exactly what do they need to change? Now, what you'll tend to find is the clients will tend to babble around. You really need to get them to focus on, let's say this in clear, simple English. What behavioral change is going to make the biggest positive difference? And when they make this change, it's going to be a positive thing for you and the company. What is the exact change you want? This forces them to clarify their thinking, get things out of more abstractions and frustrations, and get them into specifics. For example, Joe's not motivating his people. All right, what does Joe need to do different? And it forces them to really clarify what's the problem. You as an outside consultant cannot solve problems if you don't know what they are. You really need to help that person help you determine what the problem is. And the more you can focus on what's bothering them, their specific needs, and their analysis of the problem, the quicker you'll move to the next step. Getting your clients to take action is a huge issue. And the first thing you need to be clear with your clients, there will always be a crisis. And the higher up you go, it just becomes a fact of life. There's always going to be a crisis, not a manufactured crisis or a fake crisis. There's always a real crisis. There's always an excuse not to do this stuff. With my clients, I'm very clear and explicit. You're going to follow up with these people over this amount of time. Now, if they miss a month or two, that's okay, because I know how busy they are. That's fine. On the other hand, if it just goes on and on and on, and I don't mean 6 months, I mean in 3 months, then I'm going to go to the client and say, it's been 3 months, you haven't done anything. Now, if you don't want to do this, it's okay. One thing I try not to do is judge clients. It's okay, don't. It's just, we're wasting time here. You're not going to get better. This is a waste of time. It's all right. You don't have to do it. Now, let's make a decision. Do you want to do this or do you not want to do it? If you want to do it, do it. Don't want to do it, it's fine. What's it going to be? So I really put the pressure on them to set some pretty clear and specific, here's the milestones, here's who you need to talk to, here's when you need to talk to them. And if it goes beyond a certain point, I'm clear to say, it's okay. Let's just don't do this. Then they have to confront the reality of, in my heart, do I really want to do this? Or am I just looking for excuses not to do it? And by the way, nobody gets better because of planning to do things. The biggest mistake, and one of the biggest mistakes in the entire world of advising, is this terrible misassumption. If they understand, they will do. If I, as an advisor, share these brilliant words with people, somehow the world will become a different place. Not really. The problem in working with executives isn't understanding, it's doing. Understanding is easy. Doing is hard. Go on a diet and work out every day. It's easy to understand. It's hard to do. The sales of diet books in the United States have skyrocketed as Americans become fatter and fatter and fatter. We're a nation of fat people who read diet books. Well, it's the same way with executives. They got to do the work. If they don't want to do the work, it's okay. Don't do it. On the other hand, you're like that personal trainer. If they don't show up at the gym after a certain point, you need to have the courage to call them and say, let's just bag this. This is going nowhere. And then they have to take the responsibility for their own actions. Interesting question. How do I convince my clients to do things? Actually, I don't. I just have them look in the mirror and say, you're the one that's got to convince yourself to do this. If you want to do it, great. If you don't want to do it, goodbye.